All right, get ready for a trip to some of the strangest places on Earth. I'm talking about spots so bizarre they feel like they've been pulled straight out of a fantasy novel.
Okay, first up, picture this. A river that literally boils you alive if you fall in. Sounds like something out of a legend, right? But what if I told you it's a real place?
Or how about this? A waterfall deep in the middle of frozen Antarctica that doesn't spill out water, but something that looks exactly like blood.
And get this, an entire village where people just fall asleep for days at a time. And when they wake up, they remember nothing. Now, these aren't just stories. These places are absolutely real, and their secrets, well, they're just waiting for us to uncover them.
So first, we're diving into some of nature's weirdest creations. These are places that have had scientists scratching their heads for, well, centuries. Kicking off our list at number 7 is Mount Roraima in Venezuela. Now, this isn't your average pointy mountain. No, this thing has a perfectly flat top, making it look like a giant magical island floating in a sea of clouds. It's just unreal.
So this incredible tabletop mountain is one of the oldest things on our planet. We're talking over 2 billion years old. And because of its sheer cliffs, for millions and millions of years, its summit was totally cut off from everything below. It was basically a lost world, untouched until climbers finally made it to the top in 1884.
And that isolation? It created this perfect little evolutionary bubble. The result is just mind-blowing. 53% of all the plants and animals found up there are found nowhere else on Earth. Just think about that.
Okay, so from a lost world up in the clouds, let's come back down to Earth for number 6, the Kelimutu Lakes in Indonesia. What you've got here are 3 volcanic lakes, all right next to each other. The crazy part? Each one is a completely different, vibrant color.
But wait, it gets even weirder. It's not just that they have different colors. The colors change. One month you might see blue, green, and black, and the next they've shifted to white, red, and blue. It happens up to 6 times a year, and here's the kicker. They've never, ever all been the same color at the same time.
Now, scientists have a theory, right? They think volcanic gases bubbling up from below are causing chemical reactions. Okay, makes sense, but that doesn't explain the big question. If they're all fed by the same volcano, why are they always different colors? It's a puzzle that to this day, no one has been able to solve.
Coming in at number 5 is a place that people thought was just a legend for the longest time. It's called the Shanay-Timpishka, deep in the Peruvian Amazon. We're talking about the boiling river. And yes, it's the only one of its kind in the entire world.
The water here gets up to 100 degrees Celsius. That's boiling hot, hot enough to kill you. Now, local legends say a giant serpent spirit heats the water, which is an amazing story, but the real science is even cooler. See, there are no volcanoes anywhere nearby. The heat actually comes from deep within the Earth. Water filters down through cracks in the planet's crust, gets superheated by geothermal energy, and then bubbles back up to the surface. It's the only boiling river in the world that isn't powered by a volcano.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. We've looked at nature's bizarre creations, but now let's dive into some mysteries that humans have actually tried to get to the bottom of. Some we figured out, and others, well, they're still pretty puzzling.
So, next step, we're heading to Poland, to a place called the Crooked Forest. And it is exactly what it sounds like. You have this grove of about 400 pine trees, and every single one of them has this weird, sharp 90-degree hook at the bottom before it straightens up and grows towards the sky.
People have come up with all sorts of ideas for why they look like this. Everything from a crazy snowstorm to some kind of weird gravitational pull. But the theory that makes the most sense is that humans did it. The thinking is that farmers back in the 1930s probably bent the young trees on purpose, trying to grow pre-curved wood to build stuff like furniture or maybe even boats.
At number 3, we've got a really unsettling modern mystery. Imagine this. You're living in the town of Kalachi in Kazakhstan, and people just start falling asleep in the middle of walking, in the middle of working. They just collapse and stay asleep, sometimes for 6 whole days. This all started back in 2013, and as you can imagine, it caused total panic. Officials came in, they tested the food, the water, they found nothing. For 2 years, this terrifying mystery just hung over the town, until scientists finally figured it out in 2015.
So what was it? Turns out the culprit was an old, abandoned Soviet uranium mine nearby. It was leaking radon gas into the air. This gas was creating higher levels of carbon monoxide and, crucially, pushing out the oxygen.
so the villagers were literally passing out from a lack of oxygen.
Okay, for our number 2 spot, we're heading back to that waterfall we talked about earlier. We're in Antarctica, at a place called Blood Falls, and for more than 100 years, this place has baffled everyone. It's a glacier in the middle of a frozen desert that looks like it's bleeding.
The real story behind this is just amazing. Millions of years ago, a saltwater lake, super rich in iron, got trapped under this glacier. Now, because the water is about 3 times saltier than the ocean, it doesn't freeze, even in Antarctica. Every so often, some of that ancient water finds a crack to seep out of. The second it hits the oxygen in the air, the iron instantly oxidizes. It's basically rusting right before your eyes. And that's what turns the water that deep, shocking, blood-red color. And here we are, our number 1 most mysterious place on Earth. This is a spot that was created completely by accident, and it has since become one of the most terrifying, but also one of the most mesmerizing sights on the entire planet. I'm talking about the door to hell.
You can find this in the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan. Its official name is the Dervaza Gas Crater, but it's basically just a giant pit of fire that burns 24/7. It has definitely earned its nickname.
But here is the most unbelievable part. This fire has been burning non-stop, through rain, through storms, through everything, for over 50 years.
So how did this happen? It all goes back to a huge miscalculation in 1971. A Soviet drilling rig hit a massive pocket of natural gas, and the ground underneath it just collapsed, creating the crater and releasing tons of poisonous methane gas. The geologists on site had an idea. Let's just set it on fire. They figured it would burn off all the gas in a few weeks. Well, they were a little off. It's been burning for over half a century and shows no signs of stopping.
So, from lakes that change color on a whim to a fire that just won't go out, our planet is just packed with these incredible wonders, right? Things that don't have an easy explanation. It just goes to show you that even with our technology, there's still so many deep mysteries out there left for us to explore.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? It feels like for every single mystery we solve, another one pops up. So what else is out there? What other incredible secrets is our world hiding, just waiting for someone to find them?